occasionally healing, occasionally mending stories. Wishing you all an enjoyable listening experience. Alexander and I had originally planned to marry by year's end. I'm already 19, any further delay would be improper. The reason for this long postponement. Simply put, he doesn't like me. This marriage was forced upon him by his grandfather's arrangement. Alexander is the most unrest person imaginable. At 15, seized by some wild notion, he abandoned his family's hereditary position, declaring he wanted to earn fame through his own merit. Usually he only knew pleasure and idleness, so no one believed him. In his madness, he took scissors to his own hair, creating such a hideous mess he couldn't show his face in public. Forced to stay home, he studied. By the time his hair grew back, he'd passed the provincial exam. What takes others 10 years of bitter study, he achieved in 3 months of casual reading, nearly taking first place. One step further would be the imperial examination, but he fell silent, making no move. After arrest, he left a letter and ran off to join the army at the frontier. Alexander is the Whitmore family's only son for 3 generations. How could they bear such danger? His family wrote to General Chase at the border, asking him to watch over their son. The general replied quickly he'd never seen young Whitmore in camp, nor anyone by that surname. The family was thrown into chaos. Finally, his second uncle personally went to the frontier to inspect new recruits one by one. He finally found Alexander, who'd changed his name to Robert Wilson, making his way as a common soldier without family connections. He'd already become a centurion, commanding 100 men. Had his uncle arrived later, he might have been commanding 1,000. Back in the capital, the family hauled him before their private court and beat him within an inch of his life. But this arrogant fellow knew no fear. Once healed, he declared that among scholars, farmers, artisans and merchants ranked lowest. He wanted to see what this lowest was like, and decided to try business. This truly drove his mother to fury. She expelled him from home, taking only 2 sets of clothes and 5 silver taels. Alexander didn't mind, shouldering his bag straight for Yangzhou. Returning after half a year, his first act was buying the tallest restaurant on Chang'an Street for 1,000 silver taels, renaming it Moonview Tower, and presenting it to his mother as a birthday gift. Everyone knows his mother's given name means Jade Mirror, alluding to the bright moon above. From then on, stories about Alexander took a different turn. In the capital, countless young masters run wild, but who among them shines as brilliantly as Alexander? Noble birth, handsome features, true capability, perhaps even as a beggar, he could beg himself a golden mountain. Alexander excels at everything except his marriage arrangement, an engagement set by his late grandfather. A match with Miss Sterling of Lochuan. When arranged, the families were well matched, close friends, truly a good marriage. Unfortunately, soon after the engagement, all the Sterling men died in distant battles, leaving only Sophia Sterling alone. The Sterling family had fallen. I heard Miss Sterling couldn't learn any ancestral combat skills. Born to former wealth but weak and sickly. For years she never came to the capital, living secluded in Luochuan, growing up in that rough place. Though descended from nobility, she was just an orphaned girl. How could she match the distinguished young Whitmore? The Whitmore family didn't say it outright, but whether by design or accident, Alexander's mother became close with the wife of Minister Chang. Minister Chang manages the empire's finances and has only one daughter, accomplished in music, chess, calligraphy and painting, one of the capital's premier young ladies. Perhaps someday the engagement might be reconsidered. I'd been hearing such talk since 80 miles outside the capital. Of course, these were the elders' thoughts. As for Alexander himself, he was in his prime, riding proud on bridges while towers full of beauties waved their red sleeves. When I reached the city gates and heard about Alexander and Lily Bloom, my coachman Marcus couldn't help kicking hard at a dead roadside tree. The trunk, thick as an embrace, snapped clean under the martial artist's full-force kick. Looking at the neat break, I thought, breaking is sometimes necessary. Some things must have an ending. At scorching noon in summer, even cold tea sellers retreated under eaves. The old carriage stopped at the Whitmore gate. The tea seller glanced over, then continued fanning himself leisurely, until a young woman in pale blue silk stepped down from the carriage. Like a wild orchid in a valley, her bearing otherworldly, the tea seller lost his words. I knocked on the Whitmore door ring. "Who is it?" "Sophia?" "Sterling." "Which Sterling family?" The gatekeeper, already irritable in the noon heat, tried suppressing his anger upon seeing a beautiful young woman. Just then came commotion from behind. A sharp-eyed vendor recognized the pattern on that old carriage, the sun symbol. Transforming into a sea of blazing light, the crest of the old Sterling family. I smiled at the gatekeeper, my voice soft as a stone dropped in still water. Please inform your master that Sterling of Luochuan has come to break the engagement. I'd never before set foot in the capital. How ironic that my first visit was to break an engagement. Alexander was living carefree in Yangzhou. The person I met was his mother, current matriarch of the Whitmore family. People mock me for my rural upbringing, saying I lack proper etiquette. I accepted the hot tea from the maid, holding it at shoulder height, arms relaxed, my bearing so proper none could criticize. No one knows my mother drilled etiquette into me with a cane from childhood, every posture corrected with a wooden ruler. She said I'd have to be the Whitmore family's grand lady, not because she loved that status, but because by then Sterling had declined. If someday I lived under a mother-in-law's thumb, I couldn't let others mock the Luchan general's daughter for lacking manners. She said, Sophia, your father and brother can no longer protect you. Before, no matter how willful, no one dared criticize. Now even I cannot shield you. You must rely on yourself alone. Slowly brushing away tea foam, I nearly wept. Mother never knew I learned etiquette not for myself or the Whitmore family, but only to gladden her heart. The burning in my eyes flowed down with my sip of tea. I raised my head, face now expressionless. Lady Whitmore gently adjusted the pearl flower in her hair. Though speaking cheerfully, her manner seemed forced. She gestured for more refreshments. Lady Whitmore, look at you. Not seeing each other for years, our Sophia has become such a beauty. What a pity Alexander isn't here. I'd definitely have you two meet. All these years he's always remembered this younger sister. Lady Whitmore had already made 3 errors. First, our families haven't just not met for years, but over a decade. After my father and brother died, our families occasionally exchanged letters, but as Whitmore grew more prosperous while Sterling kept to our corner, letters gradually went unanswered. I don't blame them. Among the capital's powerful families who cut ties with Sterling, Whitmore wasn't alone. When people leave, tea grows cold, such is human nature. Just that with an engagement between us, it felt somewhat chilling. Second, Alexander, though unmarried, goes about with a courtesan like Mandarin ducks, lacking propriety and shame, trampling Sterling honor. How can this be dismissed as youthful rebellion? Third, if Alexander truly remembered me, why am I still unmarried at 19? I took tea and snacks from the maid, bowing to Lady Whitmore. Marriage matters should naturally be decided by parents, but with Sophia's parents both gone, I had to come myself. Surely Lady Whitmore heard from the gatekeeper. Sophia has come to break our engagement. Lady Whitmore's little finger trembled slightly beneath her sleeve. Sterling voluntarily breaking the engagement was good for her. She'd long favored Minister Chang's daughter, a young lady who'd benefit Alexander greatly. Just a pity the engagement was set by the late Whitmore elder, so they dared not speak of breaking it. But if breaking with Sterling invited gossip, 3 generations of Sterling loyalty all sacrificed for country. Now only a lonely young lady remained. If word spread, how unpleasant it would sound. I saw through all Lady Whitmore's calculations. I wasn't worried she'd refuse. Between real benefits and vague reputation, they'd been choosing for years already. Lady Whitmore considered briefly, calculation flashing in her eyes. I knew she'd decided. I heard her say, "Your engagement was arranged by his grandfather. You were still swaddled when engaged. An arranged marriage is both responsibility and burden. I only fear your temperaments won't match and you'll become resentful partners. Since you wish to break the engagement, have you considered your future? My Alexander, though somewhat wild, is still dependable. Why not become sworn siblings? You'd have support in future." Wanting to break the engagement yet not bear the reputation of bullying an orphan. Her words, 3 parts true, 7 false, all seemingly considering me. But if she truly cared, why wait until I came to break it off? I sighed inwardly, feeling grateful for her supposed kindness. Just that our Sterling family, full of loyal heroes, all our men died for country on battlefields. These years since my parents passed, Sophia has grown used to solitude. Adding a brother of different surname and incompatible temperament, I fear I couldn't adapt. My meaning was clear. Alexander wasn't worthy. He might be brilliantly smart, achieving minor successes in various fields, but my father and brother sacrificed their lives for country, protecting court and people, true men standing tall between heaven and earth. How is Alexander worthy to be my brother? Even less worthy as my husband. Leaving the Whitmore estate, Marcus's face was black as coal. The maid Emma's eyes were red and swollen. She spoke not a word the entire journey. Only in the restaurant's private room, away from others, did she finally break down crying, turning away to wipe tears. I knew what she wanted to say. This engagement was broken, but in these times, a woman who breaks an engagement is always scorned. I gave her my handkerchief. Don't cry anymore. Less is sometimes more. This isn't necessarily bad. Let's eat. We likely won't make it today. We'll enter the palace tomorrow morning. This trip to the capital, breaking the engagement, was a midway decision. Originally we came to visit the Empress. Speaking of which, the current Empress and my mother were both generals' daughters, originally close friends. Later one followed her husband to the frontier garrison. The other married into the Eastern Palace as crown princess. Contact gradually thinned. Now the Empress, advanced in years, often recalls old friends, so she sent someone thousands of miles to Luochuan summoning me. Emma sniffled, about to speak, when suddenly from the next room came crashing sounds, startling me. Then came shattering porcelain and a woman's panicked cries. Little tiger! Little tiger! What's wrong? Don't scare sister. Someone was in trouble. I pushed back my chair and rushed out. I saw the woman holding a child, 2 years old at most. The child's lips had turned purple, face flushed red. Breathing had seemingly stopped. Without thinking, I snatched the child from her arms. Head down, back up, I struck hard on the back. Seeing no effect, I lifted the child, embracing below the ribs with both hands, then pushed hard upward. Something flew past. The child vomited a hard object, then several mouthfuls of water, then burst into loud crying. Seeing the child stable, I set him down. Suddenly realizing in the urgent situation, now relaxed, my hands lost all strength. Fingertips trembling uncontrollably, cold sweat soaking me through. Such commotion attracted all nearby diners. A lady pushed through the crowd, rushing to embrace the child tightly. Little tiger, how did this happen? Mother only left for a moment. Several watch-in aunties pointed at me, chattering nonstop. Your child nearly choked to death. Lucky this young lady saved him. Right, so young yet so capable. Truly beautiful and kind-hearted. Why haven't you thanked her? The other girl. What were you thinking, playing so carelessly with a child? The lady holding the child wanted to kneel in thanks. I quickly supported her. Behind came more commotion. The crowd automatically parted, creating a path. The newcomer was a young master in fine silks, bearing extraordinary. He calmly surveyed the chaotic scene, every movement radiating unshakable composure. He asked in a low voice what happened. At this moment, the woman from before ran sobbing into his arms. Alexander, I saw this cute child and peeled some peanuts for him. At first he ate happily. Who knew it would turn out like this? I didn't mean to Alexander. So this was Alexander. Wasn't he supposed to be in Yangzhou? Why was he here? The woman beside him must be the legendary courtesan Lily Bloom. My heart stirred slightly. The thought flashed past, then all returned to calm. I'd already broken our engagement, we had no more connection. Alexander was just another passerby to me. Smart as he was, Alexander understood everything with just a few glances, nearly causing a death. Chaos all around. Several frightened women still sniffling. Only one young woman in blue stood quietly amid the crowd, calm as an orchid. He looked at me, eyes full of admiration, stepping forward as if to speak. Unexpectedly, a sword appeared from nowhere, forcing him back. Marcus held his sword beside me, coldly stating, "Young sir, men and women should keep proper distance. Please stay away from my young lady." Alexander froze, then raised an eyebrow. In this vast capital, where couldn't he go? He'd never been blocked from approaching anyone. What manner of woman couldn't even be approached? Not wanting further exchange, I turned to instruct the lady. After choking, for 3 days the child should eat soft foods. Nothing too hot. The lady gripped my hand, thanking endlessly, wanting to gift her jade bracelet. I firmly refused, finally accepting only a peanut from the child's pocket. After this incident, I felt somewhat tired. Leaving the restaurant, I had no mood for street wandering. Planning to take the carriage back to the inn, I was unexpectedly called back. Alexander chased after us, his bright dark eyes reflecting my image. Originally arrogant and unrestrained, disliking imposed marriages, yet meeting a refined beautiful woman, forming a good match naturally added another romantic tale. Marcus's earlier obstruction only further ignited his competitive spirit. I just purchased this establishment today. If a death occurred, future business would suffer. Thank you for your help, young lady. May I ask which family you're from? I will definitely. He suddenly stopped, gaze fixed behind my back. I knew he'd recognize the sterling crest of Luochuan. From behind came a clear, proud yet spirited female voice. Young Master Whitmore, listen clearly. My young lady is surnamed Sterling, given name Sophia, of the Sterling family of Luochuan. 3 generations of loyalty, known throughout the land. Alexander's face showed complete shock. He'd just seen a precious jade and planned to keep it, only to learn this jade was originally his. He just hadn't liked it and let it gather dust. Regarding the grandfather, imposed engagement dragged out 19 years. Alexander's first reaction was displeasure. That displeasure overshadowed any desire to connect with this beautiful woman. But he was experienced. Within breaths, he regained composure. Clasping his hands, so it's Miss Sterling. Forgive my poor recognition. Miss Sterling has traveled to the capital. Do you have lodgings? I know the capital well. If you need anything, I'm at your service. While speaking, his mind raced. She'd come to the capital. Why? Because he'd taken a courtesan as mistress, and she sought justice. Was everything just now a trap? How else would Sophia find his newly opened shop? He knew taking a Yangzhou courtesan was improper. This return was to surprise his mother. He hadn't even been home. Yet someone had already revealed his whereabouts. While he calculated worriedly, a cold female voice like a blade, like sky lightning, suddenly cut through all his sordid thoughts. No need for concern, young master. My lady has already broken the engagement with your family. Men and women should maintain propriety. Please respect yourself. How refreshing. Alexander froze in place, face suddenly white as if lightning struck. After silence he smiled bitterly. Broken. When Emma looked skyward, arms crossed mocking. Not even an hour passed. If you return home now, you might catch the fresh news. Alexander's complexion grew increasingly pale. Just then, lanterns were being lit, streets crowded with passersby. Lily lifted her skirts and ran over. Seeing Alexander with another woman, his face haggard, she didn't understand what happened. But years in entertainment gave her the keenest sense for ambiguity. Warning bells rang in her heart. She protectively gripped Alexander's arm, speaking gently. Alexander, it's windy outside. Let's go home. Alexander, supported by her, stood stiff, fingers moving rigidly, but ultimately didn't push her away. I looked at him calmly, speaking softly. At this point, Sterling and Whitmore are severed. Your earlier thanks were misplaced. The life-threatening matter, Sophia helped regardless of you. As for this lady, if you have children someday, foods like peanuts are best given when they're older. He chose Lily, perhaps for love, perhaps rebelling against family, perhaps from his attention-seeking nature. Regardless, he didn't choose me. I respect his choice. Calling his mistress, Madam, already gave him face. Lily often prided herself as the only woman beside Alexander. But everyone knew her entertainment background. Others showed respect to her face while mocking behind her back. Now hearing me call her, Madam, her expression immediately softened. No one knew what hardships she'd endured to stand beside Alexander until today. Lily felt relieved, turning to smile at her Alexander. But she discovered Alexander gritting his teeth, staring fixedly at the departing carriage. But on Chang'an's main street, once a carriage left, it immediately merged with the crowd. She would never return. I had an audience with the Empress at Phoenix Palace. The Empress bid me raise my head to look. Unlike imagined splendor and nobility, though aged, the Empress maintained a powerful bearing. Her gaze upon me was calm and firm, easily recognizable as a woman once accustomed to martial arts. A thought flashed through my heart. If my mother lived, perhaps she'd be like this. The Empress looked at me long, finally sighing. Your eyes much resemble Linda's. When people mention my mother, most respectfully call her Lady Sterling. Actually, she was decisive in action, hot-tempered and strong. The Empress used my mother's intimate name, her tone full of nostalgia without any disrespect. Just that sentence nearly made me weep. The Empress gestured for me to sit on the imperial seat beside her. Having learned propriety from childhood, in this deep palace, how dare I exceed my station? Seeing this, the Empress didn't insist, only smiling. This palace hasn't so many rules. She asked about me and young Master Whitmore. This palace has heard it all. Have you used the imperial edict? I shook my head. Not yet. The imperial edict the Empress mentioned was one my mother requested for me. At that time, Whitmore was still a good family. Just that after my father and brother died and Sterling declined, my mother saw through human nature. She brought her sick body to the capital specifically requesting an edict for me. If I later disliked the Whitmore family, the edict would allow unconditional breaking of engagement. If already married, it would decree divorce. This matter was very secret, few knew. Unexpectedly, Whitmore was so cold. I broke the engagement without even needing the imperial edict. Just a few words settled it. The Empress heard and was long silent before speaking. Poor child, you've truly suffered. Though this palace holds the center, Whitmore's roots run deep at court. Even if this palace wanted to advocate for you, I'm powerless. Don't blame this palace. I was just an orphan girl. Whitmore being large and powerful was normal. I was just somewhat surprised by the Empress's frankness. After a silence, I said, Whitmore's wealth has peaked. I fear it cannot last. Your Majesty needn't worry for me. Oh, why say that? Young Master Whitmore's deeds. I heard some coming here. He's indeed outstanding, excelling at everything. Unfortunately, he's already the Whitmore heir. His mind unstable, boasting about everything, succeeding then abandoning midway. How can such behavior last? Didn't expect you to see so clearly. This palace can rest easy. Leaving him be is fine. But this palace and your mother were acquainted. I cannot watch you be bullied. Let this palace help eliminate Lily Bloom. Eliminate Lily. I opened my eyes wide, momentarily confused. I'd never considered this path. But thinking carefully, it wasn't unreasonable. My betrothed keeping a courtesan, to say I felt no resentment, how could that be? If she were removed, it would both revenge Alexander and resolve my heart's hatred. I just closed my eyes briefly, then shook my head. Thank your Majesty's concern. Just that Xianxia courtesan, rolling in wind and dust, meeting a good patron naturally must cling to advance. Everyone wants to climb higher, she just plans for herself. I laughed self-mockingly. If I were in her position, I might not do as well. The route is still Alexander. The engagement broken, I think it's better looking forward. I truly don't want further entanglement with them. When I finished, no one spoke. The room suddenly fell silent, only the sound of the palace maid's feather fan gently waving. The Empress said nothing. I also lowered my head, letting her observe me. Not knowing one's betrothed, without knowing, there's no love, but there are expectations. I once hoped my future husband would come from the capital with dozens of betrothal gift loads, drums and gongs resounding from capital to Loshuan, riding a fine horse to take me home. I waited so long, until 19, before realizing my betrothed probably didn't want to marry me. My fate wasn't good, meeting the wrong person. Fortunately, Mother early found me an escape route. Thinking this, my eyes stung. A warm hand gently placed atop my head. Linda bore a good daughter. With such a broad heart, truly that Whitmore boy is unworthy. Good child, stay with this palace several days, keep this palace company. The Sterling daughter entered the capital. First act was breaking the Whitmore engagement. This became gossip everywhere. Some said breaking this engagement was right. Young Master Whitmore keeping a Xianxia courtesan as mistress was already known, truly not a good person. Like this before marriage, what after? Others said breaking was wrong. Alexander is the sole heir for 3 generations. Future Whitmore control will be his. For current Sterling to form ties with such a family was already greatest fortune. Better close eyes and marry, become Whitmore matriarch, enjoy lifetime glory and wealth. That was all outside gossip. As for me, staying beside the Empress was quite peaceful. Having studied medicine since childhood, daily I went to the Imperial Medical Academy borrowing books. Days passed easily. When alone, the Empress let me call her mother. She recounted how years ago, she and my mother were both generals' daughters. Not knowing each other until they fought, fighting back and forth, then developing affection. Just a pity each had their own path. My mother passed early while she entered the deep palace, never again touching weapons. When the Empress mentioned these things, her expression couldn't hide melancholy. She said, staying in this palace, you'll find it's heaven's quietest place. I understood the Empress's intention in keeping me. I was just an orphan girl who'd broken an engagement. Remarriage would be difficult. She kept me to elevate my status. Leaving the palace with the Empress's regard, none would dare disrespect. I didn't know how to repay the Empress's great kindness, only being more careful in service. Having stayed, meeting her 2 princes was unavoidable. The crown prince was modest and virtuous, having early established his household. As for the fifth prince, several years younger than me, an extremely handsome youth. At 13-14, he was at a lively age. Hearing I came from a military family, first meeting he wanted to test my skills. How could I withstand his surprise attack? Just one move nearly dislocated my wrist. He knew he'd caused trouble, coming to Phoenix Palace gates but not daring enter. He'd already slipped away. 2 days later at dusk, I was reading by the window when suddenly came knocking on the window frame. Opening it, I found the fifth prince sneakily standing below. Seeing me, he stood with an embarrassed expression, cleverly handing me a package of pastries. Big sister, don't tell Mother Empress. I thought I'd definitely be scolded by Mother. Unexpectedly it was my fault. I didn't know sister didn't know martial arts. I'm truly sorry. Is sister alright? I smiled slightly. How can I be so weak? Just apply some medicine and it's fine. I study medicine, it's nothing. That time I couldn't control my strength, struck too hard. Seeing sister is fine, I'm relieved. Sister, try these pastries. I specially bought them from Moonview Tower. These are the capital's best. Sister, try them, consider it my apology. I reached for a small piece, putting it in my mouth. Thank you, fifth prince. Emma put them away. I want to save them to eat slowly. Emma stood behind me, seeing this scene, eyes widening. Normally with her straightforward personality, she'd definitely say something. But at this moment in the palace, she gritted her teeth and said dryly, Fifth Highness is truly thoughtful. Yet the fifth prince noticed nothing. Seeing me accept the pastries, he smiled happily. It's nothing. I brought them because they're delicious. As long as sister likes them. Next time I visit Mother Empress, I'll bring more for sister. I laughed soundlessly, thinking this matter settled. Who knew days later, the fifth prince came knocking again. Compared to before, this time he appeared extremely awkward, scratching his head for a long while before mumbling, Sister, sister and young Master Whitmore, I'm usually busy learning riding and archery and don't pay attention to these things. Why didn't sister say earlier? I really didn't know. I smiled. What's the big deal? It's all past. Besides, these pastries are really delicious. Sister, both times I wronged you. You're someone Mother Empress invited. Sister, don't worry. I'll definitely stand on your side. He patted his chest proudly, continuing. That Moonview Tower. This prince has decided never to go again. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, touched but before I could speak, was shocked by his next sentence. Sister, those Whitmores are no good. Let me introduce my brother Sebastian to you. The autumn wind rose, sweeping fallen leaves spinning down, startling a pair of wild geese. I heard my own dry voice reply, No need, fifth prince. The fifth prince got anxious. Sister Sophia, my brother Sebastian is really good, you'll know when you meet. Thank you, Highness, but really no need. The fifth prince stood silent a moment, then suddenly his face reddened. Could it be sister still likes Alexander? Are you trying to anger him by coming to my Mother Empress? Why? I heard days ago young Master Whitmore returned home and flew into a rage. Sister, I was somewhat surprised. The broken engagement should have pleased him. I didn't know what angered him. Thinking it probably had nothing to do with me. His anger or not had nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me, Highness. We've already broken the engagement. The fifth prince looked half believing, half doubting. Boys this age understand love yet don't understand. Don't understand yet understand very clearly. I suddenly realized I was truly too idle. Why discuss my feelings with a youth? For some reason, my face also reddened. For the first time, I ignored etiquette, disregarded propriety, and reached to close the window. I'm sleepy. Your Highness, please go back. Outside the window, the fifth prince still wouldn't give up. Sister, my brother Sebastian is really very good. Think about it. I leaned against the door, irritated, thinking, Brother Sebastian, who exactly is your brother Sebastian? In August, when osmanthus flowers spread fragrance, the Empress hosted a flower viewing banquet by the pond. The banquet invited young men and women from all powerful capital families. Men and women sat separately, each enjoying flowers. Such banquets were actually for matchmaking between young ladies and masters. If someone was fortunate enough to catch the Empress's eye and marry into the imperial family, that would be great fortune. In an instant, those composing poems composed, those playing instruments played, very lively atmosphere. I didn't care to compete, just found a quiet corner to sit. Someone suggested the drum, Passing flower game. After one incense stick burned, the golden osmanthus branch fell into my hands. Countless eyes focused on me. Now I was the Empress's honored guest. The capital's young ladies were all very polite to me. They were just also curious, how could an orphan girl like me have the ability to break an engagement with Whitmore? I've heard Sister Sophia comes from a military family. We're just boudoir ladies who never leave our doors all year. Sister, why not perform a sword dance to broaden our horizons? Looking up, I saw a young lady in purple, her eyes containing subtle hostility. I didn't recognize her. Someone whispered, this was Minister Chang's legitimate daughter. I understood everything. Alexander's mother favored her. Whether she liked Alexander or not, whether this marriage would succeed, now that Whitmore had broken with me, rumors spread. Was I leaving Whitmore for her? The family rejected me at their door. If they discussed marriage with her, wouldn't that imply she was inferior to me? I shook my head. From childhood, Sophia's health was poor. I don't know swordplay. Otherwise I'd have inherited the family tradition. So Sister Sophia is just like us weak ladies who don't leave our doors. I'm not skilled in martial arts nor famous for literary talent, while she was accomplished in music and painting, famous throughout the capital. Miss Chang's eyes were full of pride. Even if broken, it was she who broke with Whitmore. How could Whitmore be rejected then come marry her? I remained silent, taking a flute from my sleeve. This piece my brother taught me, also his favorite. The piece is called Breaking Formation. Just beginning, young ladies exclaimed in surprise. The melody carried fierce killing intent, like 10,000 horses galloping, armies charging, carved in stone yet majestically commanding heaven. Hearing it made blood surge. After playing a section, I glimpsed a petal fall in the pond. The melody suddenly changed, becoming sorrowful. Before I played my father and brother's heroic spirit. Now I played my own heart, what I'd seen and felt in life. I played about father and brother dying on distant battlefields. When the music ended, you still hadn't returned. I played about one general's success built on mountains of bones. Leaves rustled and fell. I played about brief records, bones piled like mountains. Sterling of Luochuan long forgotten at hazy borderlands. I played about an orphan like me, losing parents from childhood, half a lifetime drifting. At this moment commotion arose at the banquet. From across the pond suddenly came flute sounds. Sharp and resonant, killing intent even fiercer, determined to fight without mercy, battle spirit soaring. The latter part of Breaking Formation. Hearing the flute suddenly soar, my heart couldn't help being startled. All soreness in my heart dissipated. I calmed myself, following the flute's melody. Seeing me keep up, that flute suddenly reduced its fierce momentum. The melody became lighter, carrying heroic unrestraint. As the saying goes, a touch of heroic spirit, cool breeze blowing 1,000 miles. When music ended, I looked around once and coldly said, Southern Heaven Year 7, Battle of Luochuan, our army scattered the enemy. Generals and soldiers died and wounded countless, my father gravely wounded. Near death, he saw among chaotic rocks a tender flower named White Z, standing straight in blood pools, so named me after it. Mother hearing of father's grave wounds, it affected her pregnancy. She birthed me early, so I've been weak since childhood. Since entering the capital, gossip hasn't stopped. Some say Sterling of Luochuan declined long ago, no longer worth mention. Sterling's great gates were earned by 3 generations of my ancestors spilling blood resisting enemies. Those gates weren't easily gained. An orphan girl naturally cannot support them. But though Sophia doesn't inherit martial traditions, I've studied medicine since childhood. Father and brother resisted enemies protecting country. I, Sophia, heal sick and save people also for country and people. Mother established a martial school in Luochuan. Sterling's military strategies and swordplay, we keep nothing back. If later generations can continue, then Sophia and Sterling remain. Long as the fierce sun remains, Sterling remains. Though I have no men, Sterling's ancestral teachings passed through generations never cease. If anyone says Sterling has withered, I, Sophia Sterling, am here accepting any challenge. Everywhere fell silent. None dared speak. Only a great eagle's cry rang across high sky, voice piercing the sun. Autumn wind blew strongly. After a while, the Empress stood, voice resounding. Sterling has a daughter named Sophia, born of military family, soft outside firm inside, with lofty aspirations, understanding ritual and propriety, thoroughly versed in classics and history. Truly an exemplary model for women. Today I adopt her as sworn daughter, conferring title Princess Changping. Wind in the upper capital blew then stopped, never ceasing. The sterling daughter, unknown to anyone, became famous throughout the land in one morning. Young masters wanting ties with me were countless. Invitations came in piles to the Empress, all hoping to meet me once. When snow falls, none deliver charcoal. In glory times, always someone delivering flowers. I refused all. Among them several letters from Alexander, content nothing more than explaining the marriage was his mother's decision to break. He didn't acknowledge it. I had someone deliver him the old yellowed imperial edict about breaking engagement. After that, Alexander sent no more letters. From then, no more contact. When winter's first plum blossom bloomed, I bid the Empress farewell. The upper capital's bustling flowers. I've seen enough. I should return to Luochuan. That's my home. The day I left, the Empress personally did my makeup. She gifted me a long spear, the very weapon she once used. She said this spear staying in the deep palace, I wouldn't need it anymore. Better it follow me back to Luochuan. If I meet someone destined, mounting horse crossing rivers wouldn't be regretted. I never thought Alexander would wait at the palace gates. Just out the gates, he called to me. He'd lost much weight, though hair neatly bound, still exuding unconcealable melancholy. Marcus didn't need thinking before stepping forward to drive him away. Meeting again, I was high, he low. Separated by 3 steps, not allowed approach. Alexander bypassed Marcus, looking toward me with forced smile. Between her and me, why has it come to this? In broad daylight, what could I do to her? I just want to say a few words. Suddenly I remembered our first meeting. Then, beauty in his heart, how romantically carefree. Remembering the Empress's flower banquet, Alexander's eyes still held admiration. Didn't expect her flute playing so excellent, I said coldly. My flute playing has always been excellent, you just didn't know. That breaking formation. I often heard it in the army too. That year I was 15, left home enlisting. Didn't want passing through Luochuan, deliberately went north to General Chase. Tell me, if that year I'd gone south and recognized her early, would there be different outcome? The marriage between Whitmore and Minister Chang ultimately didn't succeed. As for Lily, after recent scandals, Whitmore lost face. Old Master Whitmore poured anger on her, personally ordering her back to her Yangzhou 4th rank alley residence. For life, she couldn't enter the capital nor step through Whitmore's main gates. Alexander, after all maneuvering, ultimately grasped only handful of sand. With hands wave, nothing remained. Strong wind tossed his robes. Proud as Alexander, now had to admit one wrong move lost the whole game. Failure and regret cut him like steel blades. He seemed suddenly understanding something, hazily asking, "Is this retribution?" I looked up at him, slightly surprised. After a moment, told him, "No. Alexander, you just missed me. This isn't your retribution. As I told the Empress, your retribution is your character. You dislike the path family arranged, always want carving your own way, earning complete admiration. But success requires persistence. No matter how brilliantly talented, you can't bear it, abandoning everything halfway. You have natural intelligence and family support. Getting what you want is too easy. Because too easy. You don't cherish good things. You can't grasp anything. That's your character, your retribution." I slowly bowed. "Alexander, from here roads are long. Each care for yourself. May we never meet again." 2 miles from capital, gradually heard flute sounds. Flute sound unrestrained and powerful, like surging tides and moving seas. Such beautiful flute playing, I'd only heard once at the Empress's flower banquet. I listened intently long while, finally taking out my flute. Flute sound gentle and smooth, following wind's direction rising. Under moonlight was a gratitude song. That day at the flower banquet, I momentarily thought astray, feeling sorrow. Fortunately someone used flute sounds helping me release. Going another 100 meters to Pine Mountain Pavilion. Before pavilion someone in long black robes, long legs steady in black boots, eyebrows like swords, eyes like ink. Just one person, one flute leaning on railing, yet exuding aura looking down on world. I called Marcus stopping carriage, following mountain path to that person. Both hands at waist, bowed very formally. That person stopped music. Bamboo flute in hand spun once. Phoenix eyes slightly narrowed, lips slightly raised as if smiling. Looking at me with both amusement and aloofness. "Heard Miss Sterling leaves capital today. Specially came seeing you off." I was somewhat surprised, stepping back lifting skirts, bowing again. "Thank you for seeing off. Just don't know sir's surname." That person's expression casual, eyes shining with smiles. behind him brilliant sunlight dispersing winter's cold. Miss Sterling, remember well. Surname is Blackwood, given name just one character Sebastian. From here, mountains long seas wide, but mountains rivers can be peaceful. Though road long will have end. Miss Sterling, take your time. She and I will meet again someday. Extra story from childhood. Alexander knew he'd inherit father's position and marry Miss Sterling of Luochuan as wife. Born carrying this responsibility, not allowed one wrong step. First tasting rebellion at age 8. Mansion had very tall pomegranate tree. From childhood worn tree too tall to climb. But that night couldn't sleep, secretly snuck from room. Not only climbed tree, climbed to highest top picking biggest, reddest pomegranate on branch. That night slept in tree, one hand behind head watching stars, other lazily peeling eating pomegranates. So trees could be climbed, just careful won't fall. Next morning when mother woke doing makeup, discovered fire, red pomegranate on table. Panicked, called him over scolding thoroughly. Alexander beaten but gritted teeth without begging. Finally mother beat until tired, waved him back to room reflecting. He dragged injured body through flower hall, hearing servants whisper amazed. Such tall tree, even adults have difficulty climbing. Don't know how young master climbed up. Alexander showed no expression, tasting faint metallic blood taste in mouth. Licked lips, thinking pomegranates this sweet. Everything has first time, then second. At 15, went riding hunting. Returning home again scolded by family. Child like this truly amounts nothing. Hard achieving great things. You're truly fortunate born in good family. Even failing literature and martial arts, our family still has endless wealth, still hereditary position waiting. After Mary settling down, parents can rest easy. Cain fell on him. He fed up, thinking everything pressed on my head. Yet want me grateful your kindness. If so, don't need this position. Whoever arranged marriage can fulfill themselves. Failing literature martial arts. He gritted teeth, remembering that pomegranate's sweetness. So determined passing civil examinations, establishing merit at borders. Many years, tirelessly fought with parents proving himself. More parents blamed him walking dangerous paths, more astonishingly famous became. From capital to Yangzhou, young hero befriended fellow adventurers. As for Yangzhou Courtesan, indeed had outstanding beauty. He young romantic, drank with her several times. Courtesans originally not easy meeting, but she had special feelings for Alexander. His drinking companions all jealous to toothache. Alexander praised until dizzy. In excitement, also spent 1,000 gold for her. Once seeing her harassed by pleasure seekers even helped her. But that was all. Extra story Alexander truly didn't expect Lily would redeem herself coming to old residence seeking audience. Grandmother even approved. Alexander originally someone doing rebellious things, only now truly acknowledged Lily, 2 parts. Lily became his mistress, of course couldn't become legitimate wife, he just wanted angering stubborn parents. They broke precedent organizing banquet, inviting guests. That day very surprised remembering his betrothed in Luochuan. Born military family, supposedly weak health, unable learning swordsmanship, no reputation for talent. Could she be like cousin sisters, weak as flowers, just waiting married off, then living parasitic life depending on husband? How detestable. First meeting Sophia was in capital. He secretly bringing Lily back. Just returned, ran into her. Young lady with refined temperament, facing danger without fear even saving life. He just developed intention befriending but blocked from approaching within 3 steps. Orphan girl from Sterling dared coming alone breaking engagement. Alexander, originally arrogant, first time looked down upon by others. After was palace banquet. Broken engagement news spread widely. Powerful Whitmore forced by orphan girl breaking engagement. When sitting, many contemptuous glances invisibly swept past, carrying disdain. Alexander laughed coldly. This marriage if broken then broken. Could he Alexander bend under woman's hand? Until flute sound arose across pond. Capital fashioned soft music, but this flute shook heaven earth with heroic spirit soaring sky. 10,000 horses charging like evening tides rising, startling all guests amazed commotion. What man doesn't hope donning armor charging battle, taking enemy generals' heads among 10,000 troops? What person was Miss Sterling playing music making listeners bow admiration? Everyone tactfully looked toward Alexander. Alexander found himself in flute sound. He'd truly been battle-killed. Even today could recall those screams in flames. Compared others, this music more easily aroused killing intent in Alexander's blood vessels. That was his wife. Flute sound became sorrowful. Alexander didn't understand why hurt his heart. Just about doing something, suddenly felt cold gaze fall on him. Then bamboo flute sounds arose. Looking up, Sebastian had already withdrawn cold, contemptuous gaze, playing flute horizontally. Protective intent clear. Who was Sebastian? Whitmore prominent, but Sebastian even more noble, eldest princess's son, close imperial family. At 14 went training northwest. 12 years rarely returned capital. Every time old General Whitmore mentioned Sebastian, greatly admired, praising General Blackwood young talented, decisive brave. Having such general nation's great fortune, Alexander also seen Sebastian's bearing, entering borderlands without asking. Couldn't help submit, couldn't help acknowledge. Every word old General Whitmore said correct. This time, didn't know why Sebastian deigned attending palace flower banquet. Beside him small figure, looking carefully, current fifth prince. This moment stood there proudly, just not knowing if proud of his brother Sebastian or his sister Sophia. One performance startling everyone. Sophia conferred title Princess Changping. Alexander perhaps never expected becoming capital's laughingstock. Young, hadn't inherited title, no scholarly achievements relying, no prominent merits, yet behaved dissolutely. How worthy Princess Changping. Each matter caused waves. Whitmore reputation trampled dirt. Parents had huge fight. Father criticized mother shallow woman only seeing immediate benefits. Easily breaking with Sterling, not knowing how important clan's 100-year reputation. Mother laughed angrily, Lord Whitmore, truly worthy being Whitmore head. Words full benevolence morality, appearing upright dignified. If so, after Sterling declined, did you ever once visit your Sterling sister-in-law? Father speechless, waving sleeve leaving. Several days didn't return home. Only Alexander left, soul scattered. Though Lilygood too only spoke romantic matters. When wanting discuss deeper like national affairs, with Courtesan, where begin? Didn't care outside criticism. Just heart, regret grew like vines, causing extreme pain. That day return in, called someone investigating Sophia. High mighty Whitmore young master, first time quietly listened about Betrothed's life. Sophia's father-brother both died battle. Mother alone raised her while struggling maintaining sterling reputation. Childhood extremely difficult. Capital sang dance peacefully, not hearing war horse sounds. In Luochuan, said when brother died battle, 7 arrows body, 1 arm cut off. Sophia and mother personally collected remains placing coffin last sterling man. Then only few years old, already witnessing such tragic scenes. Even Alexander first battle, kept awake by blood flesh flying scenes did Sophia cry. Perhaps witnessed too much, no more tears. All years Alexander busily fought family, never caring about betrothed. After mother passed, Sophia lived very difficultly. Studied under local famous doctors, healing saving people. Such good young lady, like first plum branch, unwilling bend, standing proud aloof, not parasitic flower waiting depend husband's family. Just studying medicine not so easy. What noble young lady would learn this profession? Constantly dealing festering wounds, risk infection, just thinking frightening enough. In most difficult times, did she ever think of betrothed in distant capital? Having prominent betrothed at least escape wrote, also hope. Did Sophia ever hope? Alexander didn't know. This lifetime would never know. In capital, those wanting form ties with Sophia numerous as fish crossing river. Yet he could have possessed her. He'd lost world's best young lady, yet didn't know when lost her. Just as Sophia said, they crossed 10,000 waves, never meeting again. He'd long ago become unworthy being her husband. True worth isn't measured by talent or birthright, but by perseverance and character. Alexander possessed everything. Intelligence, wealth, status, yet failed because he abandoned every pursuit halfway, treating precious things carelessly. Sophia, orphaned and weak, built her strength through dedication to medicine and unwavering principles. She understood that broken engagements aren't failures but liberations from unsuitable matches. The story teaches us that those who easily obtain success rarely value it, while those who struggle for every achievement treasure what they earn. Sometimes the greatest revenge is simply living well, refusing to let others' choices define your worth. In love and life, persistence matters more than brilliance, and knowing when to let go is as important as knowing when to hold on. Thank everyone listening to Story on Panda Tales Audio Healing channel. If enjoyed, don't forget like, comment, share and subscribe for earliest notifications.